What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another YouTube video. And today we're taking a look at Joan, which is a new ITV series which has 8 episodes, all of which are an hour long each. And it is set in a little bit of a Victorian time England. I'm gonna say like the 80s. That's not Victorian time, I do apologize. Like the 80s, 90s, 70s, 60s-esque Britain. And yeah, that's what we're going off here, and it is on ITV, and you can watch it on ITVX, which I think is the worst fucking streaming platform ever, because there is so many fucking ads. There is 8 ads at the start of a show. You get 10 minutes in, it starts getting good. You get 8 more ads, and then you get another 10 minutes in, and you get 8 fucking more ads! And then you go another 10 minutes, and you get 8 more ads! The fuck? There is so many ads in this bastard. It really upset me how many ads were in this fucking show. But if you can get past the ads and quickly, without any further delay, take a look at what Google has to say, you'll see that Joan is a drama show, which is a 2024 TV series, which has a 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb and an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. Joan Hannington, a fiery and uncompromising woman in her 20s, is a devoted mother to her 6-year-old daughter, Kelly, but is trapped in a dangerous marriage with a violent criminal named Gary. When Gary goes on the run, Joan seizes the opportunity to create a new life for herself and her daughter. Adopting new identities and making new acquaintances along the way, Joan becomes a masterful jewel thief, and she embarks on a thrilling high-stakes adventure. Right, so how episode 1 starts out is really fucking cool. The opening scene of this show shows you the show, like, that's midway through episode 4. And that's fucking cool, not gonna lie, because we have, like, the main opening, and then it sort of shows the contrast of what you think is her rich, extravagant lifestyle at the start of this episode with her New Yorker accent, before it changes to how she actually lives her life, which is quite poor. And I just like that opening contrast. I think it's really, really good. But she ends up sort of getting in an argument with her boyfriend, and then they end up falling out. She then decides again to go on the run because the mafia come after her, or like some gangs come after her because they want the husband. She then gives her daughter up for adoption, obviously to keep her safe, and then tries to, see her as often as she can. She works in the salon for a bit, which her sister owns in London, and obviously doesn't go too well because she steals a car to go meet her daughter. She gets caught for that, and then she gets a job at a jeweler's, and she steals some jewels. And she tries to sell him to Boise, who owns an antique shop, and she kind of gets in with Boise, sort of starts to fall in love with Boise. There is a lot of a love relationship being formed here, like a partnership, because Boise hires her to do a mission to smuggle some jewels abroad, and they get paid for it. She enjoys this lifestyle, so she keeps on stealing with Boise for a little while. They end up screwing up on their, second job together, and that's not really good, and Joan wants to go straight. Boise doesn't, and he tries to sell this painting to the IRS, which is the Irish, and I also believe they're terrorists. That's how this show sort of tried to show them off, and they obviously didn't agree to the deal very well, and kind of ripped off Boise, burnt off all of his stuff. Their leader got caught because Joan was being followed by the cop, which has been following her the entire series, so, kind of obvious. And she gets put in prison. She gets out on bail, she kidnaps her daughter, and tries to do a heist with Boise. The heist goes wrong because, guess what? Her old husband comes back, oh my god, and shoots Boise. So Boise's shot in the leg, he bleeds out and fucking dies. She runs off with her daughter, then realizes how this is a bad thing, because obviously her daughter is having a better life, and she doesn't want to, ruin her daughter's life. She can obviously see that she's happy with her new adopted family. So she hands herself in, gives the daughter back, and 4 years later, goes to Spain and takes the money that she was owed from the botched job. And that's the series. I'm going to be honest, this show got boring at episode 3. It had like peak at episode 1, 2, dropped for episode 3, and started to rise again after that. Episode 3 was so fucking boring, and I lost so much interest during episode 3, but I'm so glad that I kept with it, because the music and the camera angles are done so well, because it sort of shows that these characters know something, and it keeps putting emphasis on certain objects, on certain places in these areas that we should be focusing in on, and sort of knowing that something's not quite right with these things. And the way it's shot in the first 14 minutes when she gives up her daughter for adoption, yes, that happens within the first 14 minutes of the show, it made me fucking cry. This made me cry within the first 14 minutes of the show. Now that is remarkable. That is incredible storytelling, to have me cry within the first 14 minutes. And the camera angle in one of the episodes where the daughter finds the gun after that she kidnaps her own daughter, and the way the music is building up, and the way the camera is flashing between the child and the mum who's outside, sort of stressed out and crying, where the daughter's on the inside trying to find some baby wipes, but she finds a gun, she's playing with a gun, and she points it at her face so many fucking times. It builds so much tension, builds so much sort of unease, and I was there like, oh my god, the child's gonna shoot herself in the face, the child is gonna get fucking blow her own brains out, the child is going to die, the child is going to die. And it was scaring me, like, so much. It put me on so much edge. I was upset when Boise died, because holy shit, that was such a good scene. We see the absolute defeat, the absolute, like, distrust and upset that is in Bernard. Gonna be honest, he deserved it. He was a fucking creepy asshole anyway. He definitely deserved it. But, like, seeing his disappointment and, like, his last-ditch effort to, like, just shoot Boise. Oh, well, he was actually going to shoot Joan, but Boise jumped in the way. The absolute dedication, the growth of his character, that was such a good moment for his character, because we saw, like, him from Joan's perspective the entire time, where he's not doing anything for Joan. We sort of see him as quite a selfish character throughout most of it, so him dying with this final selfless act of killing himself or getting himself killed to save Joan, that is huge for his character, because the rest of the show he was putting all the danger, all the pressure on Joan, like, you smuggle these across, you go in here, you do that, you make yourself the target, you go in without the mask, you sort of try and distract them. Always putting her in center danger is what he's done the entire show. And he tries to sort of talk his way out of it, and he's always quite smooth with how he talks. He's always trying to get himself out of trouble, get himself out of danger, and he's quite sly. I sort of see him as like a Fox-esque character, where he's quite clever, quite sly, and is always sort of on the run and trying to steal stuff. You know, Fantastic Mr. Fox, like a couple of other foxes in media. He's like as sly as a fox, but that last final thing that his character does of sort of jumping in front of Joan, it is kind of ruined, because he does whine like a little bitch throughout the rest of his time, like trying to get out of the shop. You know what? I'm not dissing him. I would whine like a little bitch too, but it kind of took away his heroic moment and sort of made him feel a little bit more human, a little bit more relatable, a little bit more of a grounded character, because he actually reacted to being shot, and he actually sort of cried in pain and was genuinely hurting. I don't know how he bled out, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think being shot in the leg could have killed you by bleeding out that quickly. I felt it was a little bit unrealistic, but it still had a huge impact on the story. This show had a really interesting story, and it had so many good things. It had the actor from the X-Men playing Jean Grey, and that is the main reason why I watched this. I saw a couple of ads and trailers for it, and she was the main reason that I watched this. It is such a good show. It is incredible. I think it is straight up an 8 out of 10, and you should go watch it for yourself.